Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Lizzie, and for today's video I am super excited because if you spend any time on Horror Talk, as I'm sure most of you who are on my channel do, if you're not following me on there, go watch. But you may have seen it's kind of, I guess, viral in our community, this top 50 horror movie scratch off movie night ideas. So it's like this, it's a little box where pretty much you get 50 cards and you scratch them off and it gives you an idea for a horror movie to watch. I've been seeing a couple of people do this in a review style on TikTok. My plan is to do it here on YouTube as well as over on TikTok, so make sure you're checking out there. But for anybody who's been around on my channel for a while, and you may remember when I did 101 Days of Horror, I'm not gonna be doing that with this box. I thought about it at first, but I have a full-time job. I know a lot of people on Horror Talk, and I know a lot of people on horror YouTube especially do, but my job is very strenuous, and I'm just not gonna put myself through the pressure of trying to do 50 days. I know I've done 101, but that was a different time, different job at that point, and so I just don't want to feel like I'm putting too much pressure on myself to do 50 days in a row. And I also want to be bringing you guys better reviews. I want to be able to really get into the films. I want to be able to give you guys good editing, you know, including clips and things like I've been trying to do with my last several reviews. I really want these to be good reviews, so I feel like if I feel too much pressure to try to do 50 days in a row, I'm just not gonna enjoy it. So this will probably be more of a sporadic thing. I will definitely be going through these. Now obviously there are going to be films of which I've already seen, of which I've probably already reviewed, you know, and for some of them, if they're films that maybe I reviewed a long time ago or I just haven't seen in a while, I may still do those, like do a little rewatch review and re-review. Obviously Scream, I'm sure Scream's in here. I'm not going to be doing that one. You guys know my opinion on Scream. I'm pretty sure I have a couple of reviews of it on here. I did a whole entire series reviewing all of the Scream films, so I'm not gonna do Scream when it pops up. I might watch it, but I'm not gonna review that one, like you guys already know. So just to keep in mind for kind of films like that, I may be skipping some, so it's definitely not gonna be all 50, and we'll just kind of see how things play out. But I'm really excited to get into this, so I'm gonna open it and we'll see what the first movie we're gonna review is. Okay, so got it open. Go ahead and just pop the top. Oh, and the steps wrap too. Okay, it says the horror explanation card. I can't really see it, but the horror movie night idea will be revealed on this side of the card. After you scratch it, you and your fellow watchers can select a card randomly or based on preferences like rating, year, length, or subgenre elements, which are listed along the bottom. For instance, an example of attributes on this card include R, 2009, 162 minutes, sci-fi action. Following these attributes, your horror movie will be rated yada yada yada, and including subgenre elements of sci-fi and action. Once you and your fellow scratchers have made a choice, simply scratch off the card to unveil the top 50 horror movie you will be watching. To encourage you to put your phones on airplane mode, grab some snacks, and sit back and enjoy the show. So that's very cool. So I'm probably not gonna go through and pick off based off of the attributes. I just want to grab a card at random. So let's see. Okay, and then it's cool because it's got a little card code that you can scan to show to like rate and review this item, which is kind of cool. So I think what I'm gonna do is just kind of shuffle through until I feel like stopping at one. Okay, I'm gonna stop, pick this one. I see all of that. Okay. So have the card. Okay, let's go ahead. I do kind of want to read what it says. So it says R, 1968, 137 minutes, psychological thriller. See what it is. Some of you are probably going to be really good at guessing these. I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not. Ah, shoulda known. It's going to be Rosemary's Baby. So I definitely have reviewed this one. I'm pretty sure I did it for my 101 days, but it's been a minute since I watched this one. So I definitely think I'll go ahead and rewatch this one tonight and come back and let you guys know my thoughts on it since it's been a while. I understand why they have to. I kind of hate that they have to write the director's name at the bottom, because we all know, and if you don't, look it up. But yeah, so I'm gonna go watch Rosemary's Baby, and I'll come back and let you guys know my updated thoughts on this one. Okay, just finished my rewatch of Rosemary's Baby. Holy shit, I forgot how long this film is. It's about a 2-hour long film, pretty much like to the dot, which these days isn't necessarily abnormal. I feel like it definitely was for the time, having come out in the 60s. And it is not a like easy watch film. It is a very much like 2-hour slow burn, emotionally exhausting film. I am going to go into this review, at least of this film, with the knowledge, with the idea that most of you know about Rosemary's Baby, have seen the film, or have at least heard of it. So there are definitely going to be spoilers in this film. I'll give a brief synopsis if you don't know. We follow the story of Rosemary and Guy. Rosemary is a stay-at-home wife in the 60s. Guy is a actor mostly, and it's pointed out multiple times throughout the film that he has done a couple plays, but it's mostly TV, and he's trying to break into film, and we're greeted with them in the midst of apartment hunting. They're walking through this beautiful apartment that has been kind of left behind by a previous tenant who went into a coma and died. And throughout the film, which I'll get back to more details of that later, but pretty much Rosemary is wanting to be a mom. She's wanting to be pregnant. She gets pregnant in the film, and then seemingly a bunch of kind of crazy things happen. There's a lot of these dream sequences that Rosemary has, and if you've never seen the film, like the very first time that I watched it, it's very much of like, is she crazy or are these things happening? And spoiler, it's revealed that she's not crazy. The people around her, including her husband, are part of this witch cult that has taken possession of her baby. Pretty much that's like the gist of the film. To get into more of the details, like I said, it opens with them walking through this apartment complex, and the previous tenant, like I said, died, which is just one of the kind of many clues that we get when rewatching this film. And that's kind of a fun thing about this film, is that every time I watch it, there's more to it, and there's definitely more to pick up on throughout this film when you know how it ends. And one of those things is there is a letter that was left behind and that Rosemary notices on the table, and we only see really part of the letter, which says, "I can no longer associate myself." It definitely doesn't feel like that was supposed to be the end of the sentence or the end of the letter, and there's definitely more to it. And if you know what's going on, it definitely feels like this previous tenant was definitely part of this cult, and this was like her resignation letter to be like, I can no longer associate myself with what you all are doing. And of course the cult is not going to accept that, and so she is just one of the many people that is killed off in this process. Rosemary meets another tenant who is taken in by this older couple living there. They have gotten her off the streets. She was a drug addict. They've gotten her cleared up. She also dies pretty mysteriously, though it is believed that she commits suicide by jumping out this window, even though Minnie, who is the wife portion of this older couple, I do find it very interesting that she takes the stance of being like, no, like there's no way that she would have killed herself. She was actually a happy girl, because it becomes very obvious that that is not what happened, because it is revealed that she was most likely supposed to be in Rosemary's place, that she was supposed to be the first person that they use in this cult ritual, but Minnie spills the beans on that, and this young girl was definitely not having that, so once again, kill her off. And that is what leads us to Rosemary being their next chosen person for this. This is like I said, there is so much different context to this film, and so much that you can pick up on throughout watching it. And I do think it's one of those films that you can watch through a different lens depending on life experience. It is a film that addresses gaslighting, and yes, I realize that term is overused, but that's what happens to Rosemary in this, and abuse in her marriage, both physical and emotional. He, again, we're using that word, gaslights her, but he gaslights her into thinking that she's crazy, that none of the things that are happening to her are real, which is kind of what we're supposed to, again, upon at least first watch, be under kind of the assumption or questioning of whether or not what she's seeing is real or not. And if you've ever been in a relationship like that, which I have, maybe not to that extent, but it can be a very hard film to watch Rosemary go through these things, and you watch it, you just want to scream at Guy, and you just want to help her, and you just want to tell her she's not crazy. And at the same time, it can be a lens that you watch through if you have ever had a child and the struggles. I have not, and I don't plan on it, but I know, but I have friends that have had kids, and fairly recently, and so I know that, pregnancy is scary. It's part of why I don't want to have kids. And that is the lens of which you could watch this film through, of the struggles that she is going through just being a pregnant woman. And again, having all these people tell her that, she's perfectly fine when she knows that something's wrong. Like, she knows that something's wrong with the baby, with the pregnancy, with herself, but she is surrounded by these people that continue to lie to her and tell her that no, everything you're experiencing is normal, even when she knows it's not. And again, you just want to help her, and it's a gut-wrenching film. It really truly is. And I think because of these aspects, it is what makes it such a classic film, because there's so much to pick up on every time you watch it, and there's so many different ways to view this film. I did see, as usual, I went on to good old Letterboxd to see what some other people were saying, and of course the conversation of Roman Polanski always comes up. I do think it's very interesting. Now, I have not read the novel. I should have mentioned that as well, that this book is based off of a novel, but was written by a man named Ira Leving. I believe he also wrote the screenplay originally for it, and then Roman, he is listed under the crew on Letterboxd as original writer, and so I think he wrote that, and then Roman came in and rewrote and wrote the actual script and things for the film, and obviously directed it, and that is a big conversation when it comes to this film, and it has to be. You can't really talk about this film especially a film that deals with abuse, and not talk about him, because it is hard to grasp kind of this concept of a film like this, where you're watching this woman go through these horrible things and you're sympathizing with her so much, and then be like, how can a man who is so horrible and did such horrible things make such a wonderful and beautiful film? I guess because he has firsthand experience being a piece of shit. He is the guy in this film, or even just the Roman character, I suppose. So it is very frustrating in that sense as well. Makes this a very emotionally complicated film, but it is a classic for a reason, and it is a film that I do very much enjoy. I do always kind of feel, and I've felt this way before, and I do still feel this way upon rewatching it, it drags on a little towards the end. You know, Rosemary gives birth. She is told that the baby has died, and she kind of goes back. We see her kind of go back and forth between almost accepting this, but still really much believing that the people around her involved in this cult, she goes really truly back and forth between that notion, and obviously she eventually gets, you know, enough gall to start being nosy and figure out what really happened, which is where we have the very famous intense ending of the film, where she finds that her baby is there at the apartment of this older couple and surrounded by all these people. Her husband's even there. And she, you know, pulls back the curtain. She's like, his eyes, what have you done to his eyes? And that kind of back and forth lead up to that moment, I understand it's necessary. It just felt so long between the moments of her like giving birth and then her figuring out that the baby's still alive. And I honestly never really liked the way that this film ends, because again, we have that reveal, and then we have her sitting at this party being told by people that, you know, she's the mother, she should, you know, help take care of this baby. And at first she is very much like, no, I want nothing to do with you crazy people, like what are you even talking about? Which is the correct response, but we have her, you know, she does finally decide to really like look at the baby, and in my view of it, it seems like she is then put into a trance by the baby to then want to mother it, because she makes eye contact with it and she's just kind of staring at it, and that's where the film ends. And just for me, that I never really liked that ending, but again, like, I'm not a mom, and I have no desire to be one, so, but I do to an extent understand that she went through a lot. She went through a horrific ordeal to have this baby that she has always wanted to have, and, you know, whether it's her own decision or she's being manipulated and, like I said, almost put in a trance by this baby to feel the need to mother it. It is what it is. It's the way the film ends. Don't super love it, but I don't know what else they would have done to end this film. I am kind of interested in potentially maybe reading the novel. I've mentioned here on my channel before, I'm not a big reader. It takes a lot for me to get into a book, so I don't do a lot of reading. So when it comes to films that are based off of books, majority of the time I have not seen the movie. But given how much I do actually like this film, it would be interesting to read the novel. Now, from what I've heard, this is a really good adaptation, and I've seen one person that I did see on Letterboxd said that they really only recommend the novel if you are really, really, truly interested in reading it, because of how much the film is such a copy of the movie. So I do think it would be interesting to find out if that is accurate. But yeah, upon rewatching this one, I do still enjoy it. Obviously, like I said, things about it that I don't super love, but it's a classic for a reason, and again, still enjoyed it. So if you've seen this movie, which I'm sure most of you have, let me know what your thoughts are on it in the comments below. I hope that you enjoyed this review. I'm really excited and looking forward to going through these 50 films with you guys, and I hope that you enjoyed this. If you did, please give it a big old thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for more spooky and horror related content, and I will see you all again later with another video. Bye!